So I have been thinking about the waves of personal development and how there are different fads that become really popular. There was NLP, and then mindset coaching became a thing, and then sexuality is kind of starting to enter the field, and then kink is like coming in, but we gotta give it a few more years before it actually turns mainstream. And there's just themes in the personal development field. Even coaching like 10 years ago wasn't a fucking thing. I mean, it was, but it was like very low key and very weird if you did it. So I've been wondering, like, well, what's next? Like, what's gonna come next? What's the next thing gonna be? And my hypothesis is that it's going to be play. We've cried, we've healed our traumas, we've really gone into the fucking thick of our pain. And next is, oh, I didn't have my audio on this whole time. Okay, that should sound a lot better now. Okay, we're just gonna keep going. So we've cried, we've had our traumas, we've like really gone through the thick of everything. And now it is time to play, to unlearn the societal conditions around what makes me an adult and how can I be more of a child? How can I play more? And don't get me wrong, like all of the rage and the grief and the shit that we go through, all of the traumas that were healed, if you've been through a dark night of the soul, I know that you know what I mean. It was relevant and it was needed. And I do feel like the next level is like, how can we play? Like, how can we still hold the pain and hold reverence for the dark shit and fucking play? And if you're wondering, Karina, what the hell do you mean by play? Stick with me. Hello, you're listening to Healing with Kink. I'm Karina, a psychotherapist, a coach, feminine embodiment guide. I blend everything I know about psychology, sexuality, kink, spirituality, and basically everything that makes us our most authentic selves. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Let's play. This is a pretty tantric approach because a tantric approach is non-dual, which means Tantra says everything is sacred, everything is a path for the divine, everything is a portal to see truth and love and expansion. So can you laugh at the fact that you got cheated on a bajillion times by the same person and continued to go back? Can you laugh about the fact that your parents fucked you up so bad and now you have these abandonment issues? Can you laugh at that? Because I have clients that come in and they're talking about their traumas and the things that cause them deep pain. And I'm not talking about bypassing. I'm talking about bringing a lightness. I'm gonna paste a screenshot here of a conversation I had recently where I turned down a guy. I was not interested in him. And instead of having the conversation be deep and dark and like, I'm sorry that our paths did not align, I'm ending this connection. And I don't know, I feel like people take rejection really seriously and it doesn't, right? So look at our conversation and look at the lightness of his message, the lightness of my message, the humor in it. How can we bring humor and lightness into the hard things? So the childlike return to play, I think the only reason that we don't already do this is because we're scared. Like we're scared of rejection, we're scared of being weird because I'm an adult now, so I can't act XYZ ways, right? But when you think about, I want you to like picture a child in a playground. He's just like rolling around in the mud and then he's eating some chocolate and the chocolate is like drooling on his face and he's just as happy as can be and he's just like fully immersed and present in the moment. And then he goes up to someone and he's like, hey, Johnny, do you want to be my friend? And then Johnny's like, yeah, let's go play tag. Since when has an adult done that, right? Never, unless they were under the influence. But this ability to be just so present and just so innocent and so authentic, that's the texture that I'm talking about, that I feel like that's next in the personal development and wellness industry at large. Especially with the advent of AI and the fact that things are gonna change up in here. What's going to bring us the most together is authenticity, is human connection, play, things that robots simply cannot replicate. So, question for you, what does play look like? For me, it's dancing. I fucking love dancing. I love moving my body. I also love shibari. I love playing ropes. If I have a partner and I want to be intimate with them, not sexually, but I just want to create some connection, I'll bring in rope because it's a good way to really connect. You're touching, there's oxytocin running through your body and it's fun. Someone gets the feeling of containment and the other person gets the feeling of leading. I love shibari. It's actually one of my go-to modalities teaching couples that want to connect deeper and enhance their intimacy. So if you're someone that's wanting to lean more into intimacy with your partner, head into the show notes to explore working with me. Cooking is also another way that I play. I love cooking up a good feast with some music in the background, or sometimes it's a podcast. I didn't say I was good at it though. but I do love it. So I want to talk a little bit now about why play isn't necessarily a value. It's not a thing. Like, ain't no therapist dishing out play as a homework, except for me. I dish out play as a fucking homework for my clients because play is imperative. Sometimes I think a lot of people are actually addicted to pain. So we have this physical body, we also have an emotional body, and we also have a pain body. Yes, I'm gonna get a little bit woo-woo on you, but our pain body stores all of the pain that we hold. Have you ever met someone and just sensed that they were like just dense, like hardened? That is a person that has a very dense pain body because they haven't actively released energy. So there's a denseness to them. Their electromagnetic field, if you were talking in scientific terms, is dense. So this person might be addicted to saying the same story over and over again. Oh my God, my mom did this and my dad did this and this is why I'm this way and I can't change because XYZ reasons. And there's always a fucking reason, right? Like the brain has an infinite amount of reasons to stay in the pain. When I dealt with heavy depression around 12 years ago, I was fucking addicted to the pain. I was addicted to my story. I was addicted to the fact that I got to say, oh, I'm on all of these medications because I'm so in pain and I'm so depressed and I hurt myself because I'm just so like, it was an addiction to the darkness. It was an addiction to the muck. And I'm a Scorpio. So like you had me at darkness and I'm there, baby. I had to really unlearn that. I had to cut off friends that held me in that container of who I thought I was. And again, I really want to make this distinction. It's not about bypassing, like the process of healing is not linear, first of all. But what if the most empowered version of you isn't constantly fixing themselves, but constantly laughing at themselves? I was recently at a workshop with John Wineland, and he taught us to say, whenever we had, just a story that holds us back, to end that story by saying no problem. So for example, maybe your story is, I've never had a secure man in my life and therefore I can't surrender. No problem. I've never had a secure man in my life and therefore I can't surrender. No problem. It's not a fucking problem. But the thing is, people get stuck in the story and they're like, oh my God, I'm just never gonna find a man because I've never had it. Like, these are the cards I was dealt and it sucks. And what if you end that with, no problem, no fucking problem. It's all good, it's all right. What happens is we start to dissolve the shame. We start to dissolve the pain when we say, it's not a fucking problem. Because the minute that you make it a problem, the ego creates a divide between what's true and where you need to be. So if you need to be here, but you're here, you're in a fucking trap, an endless trap, because the ego loves division. It doesn't love truth. If you've done a plant medicine ceremony, you know that the ego does not like the minute that you dissolve into consciousness, because the ego doesn't exist there. The ego does not exist in love, in wholeness. The ego exists in duality, in division, in yes and no, right and wrong, appropriate, not appropriate, healthy, unhealthy. That's the domain of the ego. So, question for you, how do you play? What makes you laugh until your belly hurts? What did the child version of you like to do? And do that fucking thing. For me, when I really got into playing again, I would blast the song Barbie by Aqua. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Do-do-do-do. Right? That was the song that I'd blast, and I'd dance in like a really childish way. And cupcakes was also my thing. Like I was feeding my inner child with these activities that I fucking loved as a kid. So what are the things that feed your inner child and how can you do them? Was it basketball? Did you love playing basketball as a kid? Get a fucking basketball, hit up the court, and allow your inner child to play and to express. And what would happen? Imagine what would happen if you made this a daily routine where you were constantly playing. Imagine how much more joy you'd bring in. And if you're familiar with Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction, the more joy we bring, the more aliveness we bring, what are we attracting in life when we operate from that state? More abundance, more wealth, more health, more friends, more money, more clients, if you're a business owner, right? It's more that starts to come to you when you operate from that place of aliveness and play and love. But think of a person that's really depressed and really hardened, and like think of like a wet towel. If you're watching on YouTube, it's like, think of this wet towel just like being scrunched. And so you're walking around like this and you're super tight and you're like, I want more friends, I want more love, I want more abundance. But your body is showing something entirely different. You think you're gonna get it? No, because that's not how it works. That's not how the law of resonance works. Honestly, I avoided play for a very long time because as a business owner, I was like, this shit ain't making me money. I'm not gonna fucking play. But now, and I was obsessed with money. I was obsessed with goals and like accomplishing and success and clients and status. And I'm from Miami. It's kind of just like, in the fabrics of Miami is this like superficial way of being and really caring for that superficiality. So I never played because I was like, that shit ain't gonna make me money. But now I'm noticing that the more I play, the more alive I feel, the more joy I bring, the better my life gets. Because I'm fueling myself internally. All of the external shit means nothing if you're dead inside. Honest to God, the more I play, the more fun I have, the more alive I am, the better my business gets. And I promise you, it's gonna be this. Lord, I dropped my phone. I promise you it's going to be the same for you. If you're listening to this, I'm going to assume that you're an ambitious human who has big dreams, very soul-led. And if you want all of those desires to come through, start bringing play into your day. And before I wrap this up, like, of course I have to relate it to sexual energy. I wouldn't be Karina if I didn't. So sexual energy is creative energy. It is life force energy. And what's play? Play is also creative energy. So in playing, you're not just fueling your inner child that's like, yes, we get to play basketball again, but you're also fueling your sexual energy, your erotic aliveness. And a playful human, a human that's alive in their sexual energy, that is a magnetic human. I'm trained in this, so I can tell when someone is connected to their joy and their aliveness and their eros versus someone that isn't. It is a very big difference. So if you're ready to bring more of that into your life, head into the show notes, check out my free membership, check out my one-on-one offers. There are multiple ways to work with me. This doesn't need to be an episode that you simply listen to and go about your day. This can be an episode that you actually take a step towards creating more joy, play, aliveness, abundance in your life. Your body doesn't just want to hit the traumas and the wounds and uncover all of the darkness. It also wants to feel alive in your sex, in your love, in your business. The next wave of this work is going to be who laughed the hardest. Who had the most fucking fun. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for listening. If this resonated, hit like, hit subscribe. I do this all for free because I fucking love it. Your support truly means the world. It helps grow the show. And if you're feeling generous, post it on your story and tag me. I would love to repost. If you want to go even deeper, head into the show notes, check out my free membership, my one-on-one services. The work does not need to end here. It's truly just the beginning.